Okay, we should be live now. Try to grab the stream so I don't get the feedback. But we're live and we can go and kick off. All right, there I am. All right, so welcome to the mentorship team meeting. This week we're continuing our collaboration and our winding journey towards our second cohort of mentors. We have Adam Miller, the Node.js Community Committee Chair, joining us today. Yesterday at the ComCom meeting, raised my hand to see if anyone else in the community committee and anyone else in Node.js project had some cycles to help out. I just started a new job. AJ just started a new job. And Ahmed has had some adventures of his own that have kept him out of the ability to do much more than the meeting. So there's a strong reality baseline of we can get into our meeting slot, then and then there's the reality is the rest of the work does take a fair amount of spare cycles, and that's what we're struggling to be able to have is the cycles outside of our meeting time. So right now in preparing for our second cohort of Node.js mentorship, we I suppose first and foremost need to go in and get the list of our potential mentors, right? We really can't pair anybody unless we know who's available, in order to do that, I think we will also need to make a decision around how long we're going to run this cohort, right? If we're going to ask folks to commit their time, the mentorship program as designed is a 6-month cycle. In our first cohort, we decided that we just didn't have enough experience to be able to really run for a full 6 months, and decided to go for a shorter time period. We selected a month. It's now been a little bit more than that that most folks have run, and we originally looked at cohort 2 as, all right, we're going to do 1 month in cohort 1, 3 months in cohort 2, and then in our third cohort, potentially get all the way to that 6 months time frame. I wonder if we we need to reset that expectation, either higher or lower. Do you all have any thoughts on 1 month versus 3 months versus 6 months? David, what are you all doing in LA? How long do you all run?
So I left so we're now on the third cohort. We call them rounds, but whatever. Okay. The first and the second ones, we did not specify a duration. And I think most of them have petered out just kind of on their own. Mm-hmm. There are a few people who maintain it, but I think at a much less like a longer interval, because we do pretty much what we suggested was video chat once every other week for an hour, like kind of like a one-on-one. So the third round, we do say 6 months. Just we figured it'd be better to give people kind of an idea of like what the target was. Mm-hmm. because we do it every other week, that's only 12 sessions. So, if you kind of say it that way to the mentor, it might sound a little bit more palatable. And we did have a mentor this round who was in round 2, and he asked specifically, like, hey, does this mean I need to end my mentorship with the round 2 mentor? And it kind of caught me off guard because I don't know. It's like, no, keep going. You're having fun. Keep going. So I basically was like, all right, well, I guess I have to say something official sounding. So like, no, this does not mean that you have to end the other one. If it's, productive, like keep going. Yeah. So that's what we do on our end.
But yeah, we actually encountered something something similar with.
And I think we should.
Go ahead, AJ.
Looks like my internet's not doing well. I was saying we should probably get feedback from our current cohort before we make any decision on the next duration, see how the current duration's working for them, how far along they've gotten in this span of time, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
How often are the mentors meeting with their mentees?
Supposed to be every other week for us as well, I believe.
Okay. So, I mean, if it's only been a month, so that would be 2 meetings?
I think has it been closer to 2 months now?
It's been more like 2 months, right?
Okay. So 4 meetings. Yeah, I guess I feel like the first meeting is not going to be productive.
Right.
Meeting also probably not to be productive. I think you might see like the first start of something and the third. The fourth, it's getting going.
I feel like Ben and some of the others that had Stephen Ballinger that had really positive outcomes where folks were onboarded into diagnostics and build. They may have actually ended up meeting once a week because they were really productive. They got the mentee really to a point of understanding. So either it's more time in each session or weekly, but I feel like that they may have actually ramped that up. That's a good point. If it is officially bi-weekly, that's 2 sessions and that's nothing.
Are your sessions, do they have a target time length?
I don't know that we've explicitly stated that, but
I think we said an hour.
An hour, right?
Okay. So yeah, so if it is an hour, I mean, yeah, a month is only going to have 2 sessions, 2 hours. I mean, it's hard to imagine you would do anything other than set the tone and maybe like get the direction going.
Right. Why did you choose biweekly? Was that for the mentors or?
I mean, pretty much my opinion is that the mentors are the scarce resource. And this really has to be a low-ish commitment for them. Weekly is probably much better for the mentees, to be honest. But I don't know. I mean, my one-on-ones with my actual developers are once a week in an hour. So like to give that to, I don't know. It seems like a much bigger ask. Whether or not it's enough, that's
right.
At LinkedIn, we have a mentorship program that most folks higher up in the org are expected to take on a couple mentees, and it's recommended to be every other week because I actually had a weekly meeting with a mentee, and it turned out not enough happened in a week to provide constructive feedback.
Right.
Yeah, it was a little bit too frequent of a cadence. Like they weren't able to go and execute on what we had talked about beforehand. in a substantial way, and then approach with new questions. So I found that biweekly works well for other mentees I've had.
So 2 months would be 4, right? 3 months is, seems like fairly short in that. Another exciting things that we're going to be coming up against is the holidays. So as we kick this off, we're going to be kicking this off in the midst of the holidays. So we may want to put in the little bit of buffer time in there to allow folks to do that. Though folks may have a little bit more free time to do open source. There's definitely an uptick that we generally see around the holidays, where folks are able to spend some time hacking, rather than working on work.
Sorry, family. I'd love to hang out, but I've got this mentee.
Got this mentee. But the turkey's burning.
Potentially silly question, but is there a reason why we do distinct cohorts, start and stop dates? Could it be rolling depending on the match? Like each match lasts 6 months officially. As we get mentors, match them with a mentee. And
I did propose a rolling cohort idea back when I first got involved.
Yeah, I
really
think it's
got much traction, but
right. I think it's worth noting that the cohort concept is something that probably only I am really tied to, and I think both Ahmed and AJ push back in general on. For me, the concept of cohorts is largely how do we keep it all in our heads, right? And we we have a relatively small team and a large group that we're serving. So I'm happy once we get to steady state, kind of like to just let everyone run free and collaborate in open source space. But the cohorting is for us as much for the mentors and mentees. I think
good marketing.
I was gonna say for us, it's because I wanted to limit it to effectively like a trial or an alpha, and not feel like I was promising too much, especially for the first time. I didn't know how it was gonna go, and so then it was round 1 or the alpha, round 2 was the beta, and then this one is like, okay, we've done this twice before, we know what to expect. And it's interesting that you brought that up, because this time we've had way more mentees than mentors for the first time. I'm not quite sure what changed, but now it's over 3 to 1. And so I think, I haven't really talked to the guys about this, but I think we're going to move to rolling. I think once we get this set up, we're now going to have this pool of mentees who didn't get a mentor. And as mentors join, although I don't really know how to do the rolling, like maybe we'll have to do some sort of gating. I mean, I don't want certain mentees to be sitting in the pool too long. I don't know. There are some interesting, I guess, characteristics or dynamics that need to be figured out if we were to move to rolling that I've only just now started to think about. But
yeah, set up a mentee FIFO queue and
right. So David, just sharing some of the our expectations that we actually invalidated. As we were finishing that first cohort, I realized that I was establishing an expectation that I needed to free up our mentors for our next cohort, and that's not cool, right? Folks are volunteering. If folks are really, feeling productive in their mentee mentor, working to collaborating together. That's great, right? And it's not. We have no right to say that they need to do any follow up, or that they volunteered for to mentor once. They are not our employees, they're not a resource, and it's kind of up to us to basically invite them back and make sure that we have helped them see that this is the good use of their time, and are sort of there for them.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna continue asking dumb context questions because it's my first meeting. But last cohort, how large was it? How many mentors, mentee ratio, and did we get feedback?
I'm not even entirely sure how many are still active. We've had trouble keeping up with what's going on due to the aforementioned issues of how many people we've got on the team in our job life. But I think we did somewhere between maybe around 6 kickoff meetings. So we started like 6-ish pairs of mentor mentee. But I don't know how many. I know at least one of those is no longer happening. There may be more. So yeah. What was your other question?
Did we get feedback on how it?
Oh, no. Yeah, and that was the other thing. I was supposed to invite the current cohort to this meeting, and I failed to do that as well. So we're going today, but we're not now. Yeah. Hopefully next time.
Do we have a notion of mentors? Even if it's just like a once a month, once a quarter touch base with like, how's the mentor going? Here's how to start. Here's where you should be going with it. Good best principles. I see in the doc there's guidance for mentors, but constant check-ins to make sure that mentors are actually helping guide things properly is also helpful. Like every mentor should have their own mentor as well in a large enough program. And if it can't, like this is a looser defined mentorship program than a lot of larger enterprise companies have. But you cannot probably have the scale here that each mentor has their own mentor that meets every other week about how being a leader is going. But having that touch point to keep momentum moving forward would possibly be helpful as well, whatever form that might take.
Yeah, I like that.
So Adam, I'd love to hear a bit more about kind of the yes, you're right that we can't we don't have the resources, right? That's the reality of a large scale business-led mentorship program. Mm-hmm. Is you're investing time and potentially headcount into organizing that, and that's great. You get to prioritize that. We are volunteer driven up and down, so we have to sort of earn the right to folks' time every step of the way. And our biggest constraining resource right now is, I hate speaking of folks as resource. Sorry. Our biggest challenge is actually here in this team, because unless we are able to do the kickoffs, unless we're able to organize these meetings, then none of those subsequent follow-up things and none of the outcomes that we want to achieve can happen.
Could we possibly use foundation resources, get Zibby or Tracy or somebody on the event side of things to help organize those initial kickoffs? So we literally just roll in, show up, conduct the thing and leave. Like they can handle meeting invites and coordinating people and timing schedules and
Right.
all that.
Yeah.
Also, I just got a phone call. I think I'm getting a delivery. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
No problem. That's a great idea. Have we invited Tracy to this meeting? I know they've come.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, we haven't. Zibby's always excited about being able to promote and leverage content. I think we're actually at a point where promoting the initiative, unless it's promoting and recruiting team members, is counterproductive, because we're taking that queue of individuals that are like, yeah, I want to do that, and potentially setting them up for a frustrating experience, which isn't cool.
Sorry, I got to run and pick up a whole bunch of.
Cool. But if Tracy Lee has the cycles to help out there, that would be amazing. She just was away for a bit, getting married and on honeymoon. So she's back, and I'm happy to take an action item to invite her and her team. Tracy and the whole this.team team absolutely killed it at Node.js Interactive, organizing the community corner there and the collaborator summit. That was great, and that team really excels in the sort of ongoing keeping all the plates in the air things. So that'd be good. And this initiative does have eyes from the project and from board members. There is interest in helping make this a successful project. So yeah, that's a great idea. Like that.
We should probably check back on Nick, our EA, see if he's still around, if he's still doing EA stuff.
Right on. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Right, and I guess I come back to my biggest challenge is not making this meeting, but doing all the little bits and pieces throughout the week. This week I was in all day orientation and heading to San Jose at 6 a.m. So they're just not the cycles to do that. So yeah, I'll take the action to invite Tracy to the next meeting. Now I don't want it to pave over doing feedback. I guess we could probably do both at the same time. But I'll invite Tracy and see if someone from her team, or if not her, could join us. And what do you think, AJ? Shall we try once again to get that wrap-up meeting done, or should we?
What would you think about doing a separate, private, I guess, meeting to get feedback? Like maybe just the team members and the mentors have a separately scheduled, maybe on the weekend kind of meeting to do that.
I'm game. I generally try not to push too much of my open source volunteering to the weekends. The time that I show up for the family.
How about in the evening, on a weekday?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm game. I'm game for all of the above. Especially to accommodate our mentors. I recoil a bit at okay, Do we have to do 5 of those? No, like that's I don't think I can fit that in. But I'm not wedded to this time, and should be able to do an evening or a weekend and join there.
The reason I propose that is so we can maybe get some feedback between now and the next meeting and have the feedback in hand by the next meeting.
Right. Now the harder question. Do you think you can take an action item to set that up, or?
I think I can.
I cannot. I know that I cannot.
Okay. Yeah, I can coordinate that. This weekend will be a lot less busy for me than the previous ones have, so hopefully I can get some stuff done.
Okay. I can put a note on my calendar to bug you.
Yeah, do that.
I can type into Slack /remind.
Right.
Also, for my own review, in case I forget, since this is just in the group chat right now, I'm going to add Adam and David to the spreadsheet. So awesome. I will do that after the meeting.
Great. Great. Well, I think that's the bulk of our sort of public discussion. We can either, unless there are other topics that anyone wants to get into, we could either, wrap up, or we could, spend some time doing some triage. Since we have this allocated time, doing some triage and reviewing, our spreadsheet together. What do you think?
Good to me.
Yeah, it works for me.
Cool. Well, why don't we go ahead and wrap up the stream? Thanks everyone for joining. There were some comments on the YouTube stream, but no question. Oh, actually, I answered both the questions there. Thanks for joining, everybody, and we'll be back in 2 weeks at this time.